So yay, and some other stuff.
If you're a fan of any of those characters, you might be a fan of Xanthe because she voices them. And she voices many more as well. Feel free to look her up for all her credentials.
Yeah.
Resume impressiveness. Okay. I apologize. I'm not super experienced in interviews. I will do my best for you though. Okay.
You're doing awesome.
Yay! You're doing great too. Thank you. I'm sure
Thank you.
done it a lot as well though. Okay, I should stop laughing. Okay. Let's see. At the bottom of the list I gave you were more personalized ones. Would you like to start at the more personalized ones? Like towards your characters that you played? Or from the top is fine.
Anywhere is fine.
Oh, okay. Then I will go with what's the favorite project you worked on?
Oh man. Of course you start with the hardest one.
I can go with easier one.
Let's see. It's always hard because like I love all the projects that I've been in. I guess some of the ones that are memorable in my mind at this moment are ones that I've had the most fun on, and that just is just due to either like the project itself, or it's also just the showrunners and the director that I'm working with. So I say most recently, and it's not out yet, is Black Rock Shooter, just because Amber Lee Connors is so hilarious to work with as a director. And the project itself was, we were joking the whole time, like keeping the energy up. There's a lot of action going on and a lot of like drama. So that one is very fresh in my mind because we just did that show recently. Cells at Work is another really fun one just because that show is kind of quirky and fun on its own. I mean, there's like something to enjoy about every show that I've worked on. Even something like Anohana, which is a very drama heavy kind of show, but it was such a cathartic thing to work on, especially with a director that like Patrick Seitz that really takes care of his actors. He there's something about the way he just like kind of like describes things so that you can get into like stay in the mindset of the character. That's really fulfilling as an actor. And also he like is constantly joking around too. So sometimes it gets kind of hard because he's like saying a joke as like we're going into a queue. So I'm like trying not to laugh and trying to focus on my line and emote at the same time. Especially if it's something that I have to be very small or very quiet or very dramatic with. Just like, I don't want to laugh, but I need to be very sad right now.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. Those were like all very interesting to hear. I'm sorry if my language isn't very clever.
No.
It's great to hear that. Okay. Then, how was your experience voicing Maquia, if I'm saying that correctly?
Maquia?
Maquia.
Yeah. Oh, man. So Maquia it's such a lovely little animated movie. I think it was just really fun to get to know her. It starts in a very tragic way, but then she finds hope and like tries to just like survive. And what drives her to keep going is like this little baby that she discovers and raises as her own, and trying to deal with prejudices and like people trying to like pretty much just like this like mass genocide of her race. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with that. And it really tugs at the heartstrings. You see her son Ariel growing up, and it really makes you appreciate all the mother figures in your life. I took my mother to go see it too. So yeah, I really loved working on it.
Great. I'm glad to know that you really loved working on it. Seems like someone in chat says like it's an amazing movie and they highly recommend it as well.
It's beautiful. The artwork is amazing.
Okay. Would you like to continue with like character-based questions, or would you like generic ones, like more broad, or anything's fine?
Anything's fine. You can jump around, mix it up.
Okay. Let's see. I guess I'll just go on to the next one then, so I don't lose track. Let's see. This person said, I think Marianne grows a lot as a character after the time skip in Fire Emblem Three Houses. Which Marianne do you like more? Pre-time skip Marianne or post-time skip Marianne?
Can I just say I love Marianne? Because honestly, it's kind of cool to see to play a character where they start off and then see what they become over like a period of 5 years, I think is the time skip time frame. And honestly, I can't say that I like one more than the other. I guess it's just more that during her academy phase, she has a lot of these really funny scenes that where she's like very awkward because she's constantly trying to avoid spending any time with any people or staying around people. And I think those were just really fun to play with. Because most of the time she's just like, I don't want to be here anymore. I gotta go. Bye. In like the most awkward fashion, and just runs. A lot of times doesn't even make an excuse, just leaves, which I find is really funny. But there's a lot of personal fulfillment, I feel like, when I play her time skip version, where she's a little bit more grounded and a little bit more confident as to who she is, and serving serving her people, and like like going through with the battles. So I can't say that I like one more than the other. She is, it's all encapsulating. I love her.
Okay. It's cool to know that you just love her, all of her, and all that. Yeah, it's good to see progression of characters. I agree. Okay, then I will move on to the next question. How close is Haru from Persona 5 to you, personality-wise?
I guess I tend to be, or try to be, polite as possible. I don't think I'm quite as dainty as she is, but I try to be encouraging to my friends and supportive the way she is. I guess I don't have quite the sadistic streak she does, but I like to tease and joke around the way she does with her friends in a very subtle way that makes it kind of go like, what? I mean, I kind of like enjoy making people like stop for a second.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
But yeah, I think in that aspect that I relate with her.
That's cool to know. Yeah, it's fun to like mess with your friends a bit. Okay. This person said, who would you say is your favorite role? Haru or Marianne? Or I guess...
What?
I don't know why they include two people after that, but if it's not those two, who is it?
Unless they're saying I need to choose between the two of those, which is an evil question. No. They're all my favorite. I love them all. So that is my answer.
Okay. That was an easier one.
Right.
Okay. This person said, I loved hearing you as Sophia from Apare Ranman. What was it like voicing her?
Oh, I love Sophia. It was so The hardest thing, I guess, is because dubbing is already very technically constraining and difficult already, because you're having to cold read lines for the first time while trying to match it with like a certain emotionality to the Japanese, while also responding to, if there's recordings of the other characters already in, trying to listen to them and respond, and also on top of that, adding an accent. And accents are, speech patterns from other languages that are being brought into ours. And so sometimes it's kind of hard because you're trying to keep like a certain like cadence going that matches with the accent, but you're so constrained to the time limits of what's on screen. So if like in the Japanese, they're like talking at this speed, you have to kind of match at that speed. So trying to do the accent, a lot of times it was just, okay, so I can only like kind of half lean in a certain way. So I can do like certain consonant and vowel pronunciations, but maybe the cadence is a little bit harder to carry through with because of tiny constraints. So a lot of times I'd be, if I'm listening to like the preview of the Japanese and like reading the line just to get in my head the timing, I'm also trying to think of like making sure that I hit certain like accent sounds, so that it's apparent that, she is from like France and not like some Yahoo from California trying to be a French person.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really liked playing her. She's very sweet. And she always has like her briefcase with like a teapot and teacups in there for when they're at like the racetrack. I find that hilarious. And she can drink people under the table, which is amazing.
That is amazing. Mm-hmm. Okay. I like blinked for a second. I was like, Sophia is also my name, so I was just like, oh. I was like, oh. I guess Xanthe is not as common as of a name, but like when you hear someone else like say the name, but like they don't mean you, and you're just like, it's not me.
Wait a second. Okay. Totally get that.
Thank you for your insight on Sophia from Apare. Okay, the next one. I guess this question is just like the other one. It's literally favorite character you voiced. So I guess we'll just skip that one. Here you go. If you could have the powers and abilities of one character you voice, who would it be and why?
Wow. This is really difficult. Trying to like race through like all the lists of like characters that I've voiced, like who has like really cool powers that I'd want to use. Wow, I am like kind of stumped for a second. I suppose any of the characters that I voiced. Why is nothing coming to my mind? I guess
you could think about it.
Yeah,
We can also get back to it if you want it to like sit in the back of your brain for a bit.
Yeah, okay. We'll come back to it. We'll just shelve it for a second while I try to remember characters that I voiced.
Yeah. Okay. The top half of these questions are more broad, like relating to your career as a voice actor. So okay. This question is, what is a normal workday like for you?
Normal workday. So it has shifted since we're doing a lot of remote recording from home now. So for me, like if I have like a session in the morning, then I'll, get up. I'll make sure that that my computer is running fine. I have all my like internet plugins, right? I look at what their specs are, because every studio that I worked with has like a different system set up. So it's like, okay, we're using Zoom. No, we're using Skype. We're using Connection Open or Source Connect. So I have to make sure that I know how we're connecting. I know, like, if did they send me the script, then I have the script open. If I don't, then like I know that they're going to be sharing the script with me later. So maybe that's a separate program from the video program if we're doing dubbing. And then making sure that my recording software is running. So I like create the session and make sure that it's up and ready, that it's properly labeled, and like I know like how they want it sent later. So I have all of that prepped. And then I make myself a cup of tea, and then I try to do my like vocal warm-ups for at least maybe like 20-30 minutes or so. And then I sit around maybe for like get in about 10 minutes before session, make sure that again everything's running well, because I'm just super paranoid because you never know, internet may go down at any time. There's just a lot of things out of my own control, but I make sure that I try to have it ready if possible, because I am just a worrywart. And then do the session, and then maybe when I'm done, have lunch, maybe do some auditions after that if I have any, or get ready for another session if I have another one. And yeah, so I think that would be like a typical day for me. If work-wise, other than that, then I spend a lot of time on my phone scrolling through social media or watching a bunch of like cooking videos on YouTube, because that is my hobby these days.
Cooking videos are great. They're very fun to watch and relaxing as well.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting to hear how like COVID affected your work life. It was like, like it makes sense that you have to learn how to use so many platforms, and then like it's not just Zoom for everyone. And
mm-hmm. Yeah, you get a lot of studios have like backup software if like Zoom's not, like if it's acting glitchy, that we gotta switch over to Skype or some other one. Mm-hmm. So
that makes sense. I was just because of the educational setting, college and all that. I'm just so used to Zoom being the go-to. I'm like, oh yeah, Skype exists. All these other things exist. Okay, then. Do you have any advice for people who want to become voice actors?
So my favorite place to point people to is iwanttobeavoiceactor.com by D. Bradley Baker. It is a very comprehensive site on how to get started if you're just interested, or if you have some like acting experience but you don't have like the technical know-how. There's like so many sections, and he added in the last year remote home setups. Like he had home setups already for like if you wanted to do auditions from home, but he has updated it for people that are doing remote setups now. And myself and like so many other my friends have referenced that site just to make our own home recording setups. He also talks about like agents and demo prep, and even dealing with your own actor brain. So I think that's a really great place to look into to get started if you just want to like read up on it and like catch up. And then besides that, take acting classes. Like if you can, like I started in theater in high school and college, so I had that acting background already. And then like for voiceover in particular, then you can start taking like voiceover classes. Those are a little bit more focused on I would say like how to dissect different scripts depending on the genre that you go into. And like a lot of it's also just practice. And for me, auditions are my practice. And there's like lots of online projects and indie projects that you can audition for, and use that as your practice to just kind of get used to using your equipment, how to use your recording software, making sure that you have good mic technique, that you're like a certain distance away and such like that, and how to like edit audio. So I think those are like a good place to kind of get your feet wet.
Mm-hmm. Okay, if you guys, any of you want to be voice actors, you just got some advice there. Okay, same realm like voice acting. How did you become a voice actor? I guess you might have answered that, but if you want to go more into detail.
Sure. Yeah. So like I said, I started in theater, so I had some training there and some experience there. And while I was in college, I was watching anime, and I loved anime, and I randomly, it popped in my head that, that'd be cool if I could do something like this, and it'd be like a great way to just kind of marry my two passions of like anime and acting. But I didn't know how. I didn't know how to get started. I didn't know how to get into it. And I was talking to a friend of mine during rehearsal, and she said that she had heard of a voice acting competition at Anime Expo, which is a big convention out here in Los Angeles, and that the winner gets to, maybe get to audition for shows and stuff. So I looked it up and I signed up, and at the time, I think Bang Zoom still runs these competitions. It's a slightly different format than it is now, but at the time I had to find a monologue from an anime or video game, memorize it, come in, perform it, and I made it as a finalist, which I wasn't expecting at all because I was super nervous and I forgot my lines when I got up. I said like 3 words and then it like all flew away. And so I just started kind of like just murmuring because I was like, oh no, do I need to run out of this room right now? And it came back. So I was just like able to hop back on that train and just go. So I made it as a finalist. And I think that year was, if you won, then you got like a studio tour and like a chance to audition for them. I did not win, but I guess they saw something in me. They liked me enough that they brought me in anyway. So it's like I won. And so that's how I pretty much got started. And at the time, I had no voiceover training. I didn't really know what I was doing going into even like my first session. So I kind of learned on the job. But I think that having my acting training prior really helped me to kind of like ease into it. I'm not sure if I would just be able to just come in and just like be able to add any kind of like character or emotionality to a script without having seen it prior,
Yeah. Well, that's a really cool story. Like, just like an opportunity like that, and Anime Expo is like the largest convention in the country, so I always wanted to go there one day. So maybe I'll like watch the next one in 2025. I don't know. That's really cool. It's really like interesting story. Okay. Oh, sorry, I was looking at the list.
Go for it.
Let's see. What was the first anime you watched?
First anime I watched. So I wasn't aware it was an anime because I was like very tiny then. I was visiting a cousin up in Canada and she was watching Sailor Moon. So that was my first encounter with anime. And then later on it would be the Toonami lineup with like Dragon Ball Z and Rurouni Kenshin. And I think what really got me into anime was Pokemon, because it just became like this huge boom. I like the art style. I like their like facial expressions. I thought it was very funny. And I think that was my gateway to anime.
Yeah. I think that is for a lot of people. Pokemon is a lot of people's childhood. When people ask me my first anime, I'm like, I think Pokemon, because I probably watched Pokemon without even realizing it's anime.
Hmm.
Yeah, anime is a good one to see. Okay, is voicing video game roles different from voicing anime roles?
Yes, mainly for the technicalities. And it depends on the type of game. So if I'm doing JRPGs, at least they're a similar style to anime. There's a little bit more freedom. Sometimes some games have time constraints, so you have to listen to the Japanese and then do your version of the line, but make sure that you're staying within like a certain time frame, just so that it works when they plug it into the game, so that it doesn't like get all wonky. But for anime, like I had mentioned previously, it's very technical. You're having to, like a lot of the studios that I've worked with, they have like the 3 beep system where you hear like beep, 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 and then where you would hear the next imaginary beep is when you start talking. So it's lined up to when the character starts like opening their mouth. And sometimes it gets really difficult with timing because there will be just like tiny little breaks in the middle of the sentence that are unnatural as an English speaker, but you're having to make it work into these little mouth flaps. So it's like if I'm saying I don't know, so I don't know, but the flaps are I don't know, and you're trying to make it sound natural but still match the flap. So it's like I don't know. You're trying to find little like ways around it to make sure that it still fits and makes sense. Either that, or sometimes the director will have to just completely rewrite the line because it's just so awkward to have the pause in the middle if it's not workable. So it's I would say there's a lot more technicalities, and it's very much a collaborative process with the director, and they're called to say, you know what, that sounds kind of clunky, or that sounds very translatey. We're gonna let me rewrite this so that it makes more sense to a native speaker.
Okay, that was interesting to hear. Yeah, that makes sense too. Yeah, with like having to deal with the matching things while
Yeah,
video
and I would say
games.
that and it depends on the project itself, but like for video games there's a lot of there tends to be a lot of like call out stuff, so like attacks and like dying and stuff like that. So that can be very strenuous on the voice, although like some anime I'm sure have a lot of that too, like Dragon Ball Z for example.
Oh yes.
There's a lot of that fighting, and like so it's a lot of vocally stressful stuff. But anime games have it a little bit more than anime because it's always generally always kind of like built into like the systems that the games are built on.
Okay. Thank you for your insight. Okay, then. Oh, this is mildly. I'm not sure if you would consider this something you've already answered since it's a little more broad, but out of all the characters you have voiced, who do you relate to the most, the least? You already like mentioned relating to some other characters. Do you still want to answer this question?
I guess generally, I find in all my characters, I find something that I can connect with. So I put a little bit of myself into like all the characters that I voice. But I guess I tend to fall easier into certain characters that have a bit of insecurity. So a lot of them tend to be very shy, tend to be very avoidant of people, or they're a little bit more mild mannered. I think that they're closer in personality to me, so it's a little bit easier for me to play those roles, and probably why I play a lot of those types of characters. And I guess the ones that I least relate to, I guess, would be the types that I don't get cast as often, which are the types that are a little bit more brusque or like very headstrong. I don't get to play those very much. It's a little bit harder for me to like get into their mindset. But yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That makes sense. That like it's harder to get roles or relate to characters that are more different than you. That makes sense. Okay. What is your favorite anime?
Ooh, favorite anime. Wow. I feel like all of like the possible answers have like flooded my mind at once, and it's just like, what is it? Anime that I guess I rewatch often. Probably like Initial D. I love the Eurobeat soundtrack. One Punch Man, Mob Psycho 100. That show's so good. So I guess a lot of like action comedy. Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun is like another one. Anytime I'm feeling down, that's the show I turn to. It's just like my comfort anime. Hellsing. I still like to watch that Hellsing Ultimate. It's so good. Yeah, so those are some of my favorites. I'm sure there's like tons, like anime lists can go on forever.
Yeah, they can go on forever. Those are all like really nice. I think the most recent one that I recognized was Nozaki-kun, so it's most fresh in my mind. I'm like, oh yeah, that one.
Yes,
that was pretty funny.
I love that show so much. Yeah. I wish they would make another season.
Maybe they might.
Please.
Okay. This is not necessarily related to voice acting, but what type of music are you into? Any specific musical artists you're a fan of?
Oh, music. I guess it kind of just depends on my mood. I listen to a lot of like kind of moody stuff. But I don't know. If I'm looking for something like upbeat and like, like I just want to like get up and move and do something or do chores, I like to listen to a lot of like trance. Again, like Eurobeat type stuff. I also like to, sort of like BT, Paul Oakenfold, Robert Miles, along those lines. And then other times, I guess recently I've been listening to a lot of The Weeknd and Billie Eilish. I like them a lot. So a lot of, kind of like pop, hip hop and stuff. And other times I also listen to a lot of rock. My Chemical Romance is like my favorite band ever. Fall Out Boy, Falling in Reverse, One OK Rock. So One Republic. Those are some of the bands that I like to listen to depending on my mood. If I need something a little bit more, to something that just kind of like helps me to kind of, what's the word? It depends on. It can be very cathartic for whatever I'm feeling at the time. Just kind of, like this person gets me kind of feeling.
All right. Yeah. I like all sorts of music too. I can't really pick a certain genre myself. Okay. Oh, I don't think you said this necessarily, but is there any type of role or character trait that you have not performed but you would like to?
I guess it'd be fun to play like a shoujo romantic lead. I haven't really touched on that. I think that'd be really fun, and maybe like really kick-ass like femme fatale. I don't really do those a lot. I think because my voice kind of sits in like a certain place, so I tend to play I'll play their like tiny little sister instead. But I think it'd be fun. I don't know how well I would do, but I think it would be a fun challenge to place a character like that.
Yeah, it'll be a fun challenge, but also like a nice twist. Like it's not like the voice you're expecting necessarily. It's not like the deep and gravy like woman voice. It might be like, "Hi, but I'm also evil still." That'd be fun. This question I feel like has already been answered. But if you still want to answer it, how do you get a voice actor role and find voice actor opportunities? I feel like you already touched on this topic in the previous questions.
Because for me, I just, sometimes you just kind of have to be lucky, or you kind of like establish a relationship with a studio, and they think of you for auditions, and then you audition, and then you get a role. For me, it's also been recommendations. So if I've worked with a director at one studio, maybe they're working on a different project at another one, they can recommend me for roles or auditions for roles. So that's how my career has kind of grown. It's been a very like steady growth. And nowadays, I get auditions through my agent, because I have an agent now. Finally, yay! It's very exciting. But when you're first starting out, like it can be hard if you don't have connections with places. And, you can start with even online stuff. I still audition for like indie projects that I find on Twitter, and there's like lots of other forums that you can go through just to audition. And then if you book it, then maybe you create a good relationship with that publisher or creator. And if they have another project down the line years later, maybe they'll also like to bring you back in because they liked working with you. And that's definitely been the case with me and this indie developer called Invert Mouse. And he reached out to me a long time ago. We worked on a game called Unhacked together, and then he's also brought me back for now years later. I want to say it's probably 7 years now, and I'm working on a game called Clea with him. So you never know, as long as you are professional, you do your job, you're pleasant to work with, people will want to keep bringing you back. So that's the only way to kind of like naturally kind of grow your work.
Thank you for your insight. It was interesting to hear about how how opportunities came to you and how you seek them out. Let's see. Oh, would you want to go back to the question about powers and abilities of characters you voice, and who it would be and why? All right.
Sure. Because I was totally thinking about it the whole time. I mean, it's hard to just choose one or over the other. I guess it'd be cool to be a magic caster like Marianne, all her like ice skills or even like healing stuff. I think I prefer that because I am the type of person that would like to attack from a distance and then like hide in a bush and not get hurt. So I think I would say that. But then, if I were in the world of like Persona 5, it'd be cool to have a persona do like a bunch of like cool attacks, especially, I mean, I particularly love Haru's persona because she looks like an elegant lady with this giant ballroom gown, and then she lifts up her skirt and there's like 100 guns coming out. So I don't know. I kind of like that. It's kind of I don't know. I always found that reveal to be very funny, and kind of like that's so cool at the same time. But yeah.
All right. Quick second. I'm just gonna get something. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. I guess I asked the questions too quickly because I believe that's all the questions I have on my phone here. But we still have like roughly 20 minutes until the schedule stream ends. So is there anything particular you would like to tell people watching? Like anything you wanted to like always talk to them about, or something you're promoting right now? Or particular questions that you enjoy answering that you want to talk about?
I don't know. Well, I want to first thank everybody for being here. I know with the time change, it can be very confusing, and like it is a weekend. So thank you for spending a little bit of time with us here at FreeCon. Also, thank you for supporting me and watching and the anime that I've been in and like playing the games that I'm in. I love seeing your tweets and comments online. I'm glad that you're all enjoying everything. I know everybody's been very excited with Marianne being in Fire Emblem Heroes this week. I did 40 pulls. I don't know how many orbs that is to get her in particular. So I know I know the grind. And thank you for everybody that's been playing Persona 5 Strikers. And thank you for not, being very spoilery online. I want everybody to be able to, play at their own speed and discover things about the game for themselves. I still have to play it. I'm still playing Royal. I'm going to be done someday and then jump into Strikers. Yeah, I hope that that you guys are watching the new Cells at Work to support like the new cast for that other for that other spin-off series. I don't know if you can call it a spin-off or if it's just like a branching off into another body. But I'm so excited to hear all my friends in that. Yeah, I'm not sure what else to say other than that.
Do you have any, if you're like allowed to, do you have any upcoming like events or like conventions or online activities that you're doing relatively soon or even not soon that you want to tell the audience, like, hey, come check me out next week at this time or whatever? Is there anything like that?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
But thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. I guess I don't know. Not sure what else. I mean, I hope you guys are watching Kuma 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 Bear on Funimation. It is an adorable show. It's like an ongoing simuldub that we're working on. What else have I been doing?
Do you want to, I guess, like, branching off of favorite things, do you have a favorite video game or mobile game that you want to think about or talk about?
I wish I played more games, actually. I mostly play a lot of like things that are like easy to pick up and put down, like Pokemon Go. I still play that. And let's see. So I'm playing Persona 5 Royal. I really liked Persona 5. It was my first Persona game, and the first game that I've actually played to the end. It's very hard for me to like play JRPGs to the end because they're just massive and they're like long, and then if you put them down for a moment, when you come back, sometimes it's kind of hard to like jump back into it and remember. I'm still in the middle of Fire Emblem Three Houses too. And that one's like a very different style of gameplay because you're having to, figure out like positionings and like, it's very strategic and it's like very open world when you're doing just like normal professor stuff, like, finding lost objects and finding out who does this belong to? Why did you drop this? Take it back. I'm carrying so much stuff. Yeah.
All right. I guess I'll try to think of some. There were a lot
Unless
of
chat
questions.
has stuff, but I mean, I can't see chat. I don't know what they're saying.
I can look through chat, I guess. Now's the time, chat. If you want to be heard, say so now, but I will only pick the ones that I think are good enough, I guess.
Make them good.
Or
Only the chosen ones will be asked.
I don't know if they're still typing or if I should just start.
Is anybody out there? Somebody?
Oh, they're coming now. It just took a second. Okay, favorite Vietnamese dish and Vietnamese dessert?
Oh my lord. Okay. So, pho all the way, because it's morning, noon, night. You can eat it at any time of the day, and it is just such a, it just makes you feel good when you eat it.
Yeah.
It is my ultimate comfort food.
Yes.
And spring rolls are good too.
Ooh, I love those too.
I like making them. You can put whatever you want in them. And favorite Vietnamese dessert? It would have to be like I guess there's like multiple types of like, which is like a sweet, it could either be with like a thick kind of milk or like coconut milk, and it's either like different jellies or fruits or beans of the like. Those are just really good and refreshing.
Yeah. Delicious. Okay.
Now I want food. It's lunchtime here.
Oh yeah, I forgot that you live hours away. It's like around noon over there, correct? Or 1?
Yeah, it's closer to 1 now.
Okay, I'm looking through. Don't be sad if I don't choose you. It's not. I'm just picking what I think.
Don't be sad.
Okay. Oh, no one was sad. It was just like warning sign just before I pick one. Okay. Are there any voice actors you work with a lot and enjoy working with?
Well, so I guess that would have to be the hybrid actor slash director, because a lot of our work is solo. So, although, when I watch the final product, I'll be like, oh, I'm in this show with this person, and this person again. They're fantastic actors, and I love like being able to bounce off of them. But I don't get to actively work together with them in like a session, because we all record solo. But some of my favorite actor slash directors that I worked with, Patrick Seitz, I mentioned him before. He is just like the gentlest giant, and he's so funny. I love working with him. Tony Oliver is also fantastic, really great at like knowing exactly what he wants and trying to get that read out of you. Jalen Cassell, he's fantastic. Working with him right now on Kuroko's basketball, and he's just a joy to work with. He's so sweet, fantastic writer. I've also worked a bit with like Koi Dao as well. He's just starting to do some directing, and he's just so funny. He was just like make the funniest like little comments. So I guess in general, it's just like a lot of people that can really keep the energy up during like a session, because sometimes I'll do a read, and then like the sound engineer has to like scooch things around to make sure if it's like fitting with the mouth flaps. And while we have that little downtime, we'll just like have little moments back and forth together. So yeah, I don't know. I'm really happy that I get to work with a lot of my friends.
Yay.
They're really great. Oh, and recently I'm also working with Laura Stahl, and she is the kindest person ever, and also very mindful of like making sure that everybody's comfortable and happy and loved. She is the biggest, like every actor's like biggest cheerleader. She is fantastic.
That's great to hear that so many wonderful people work with you. It's good to know that there's a good community within the voice actors and the industry. Okay, I'll scroll through. Now there's lots, so I have to.
Oh,
Okay, what do
got
you?
10 minutes, people.
Yeah. What do you miss the most about going to conventions? I'm assuming this means like in person, since you're at.
Yeah. Oh man, I miss getting to see cosplay, whether it's something I recognize or not. So it's just like amazing to see the level of craftsmanship out there, and also just like committing to walking around in a really big, bulky costume. Like, yeah, like I feel that. I can only imagine what it's like inside there. And also going down Artist Alley, seeing all the amazing like content that people create, fan art or like keychains, and just blowing a ton of money just because it's like, this is so cool, this is so beautiful, and like wanting to have all the things. I think that's like really what I miss the most, getting to interact with fans. Because a lot of times I'll work on things and, you never know what's going to be popular or how it's going to be received. I feel like, it's always like I'm working on a project and then I got to work on, I'm focusing on the next project and moving on. And then a lot of times you don't know how things are going to be, how people are reacting to it. I mean, sometimes the people will tweet at me that they're watching something and that they're enjoying it, but it's kind of just different when you're in a con scene and you're seeing the cosplay, you're seeing people making the fan art, and you go, "Oh wow, this project really had an impact on these people, or people really love certain characters." So it's just a really different vibe when you're there surrounded by it versus like little like comments here and there online. And a lot of times it's also just like there's a bit of a delay too, depending on like when I worked on it, when it was released, giving people time to actually consume those things, and then seeing and then starting to hear feedback from fans. So it might be like, oh, I recorded for that last year, and I remember the character, but I don't remember like quotes or lines or anything. But I remember the general feeling of that character, and like, wow, that these fans are really resonating with that thing that I also resonated with the character with. So that's kind of cool. We have that kind of connection going on. But yeah, it's so different being isolated versus being able to see things in person.
Oh yeah, I agree. Some of my staff members like told me, yeah, they like we have a cosplay contest, but it's different like seeing it in person and seeing like,
yeah,
whoa, wow, you're so amazing, and I'm like seeing you in front of me.
Yeah, and it's different when you get to see in person like the materials they've used, and like sometimes little details you don't see them unless you're there in person, versus like seeing it on a screen. And if like their video quality is not like pristine, then it's like it's like slightly blurred or whatnot.
Yeah, and just seeing like all the art and the vendors, yeah, it's an experience. It's like it's very immersive. Yeah. I agree. Okay, let me see. Look through questions. Oh, sorry, I accidentally closed my window. Okay, the stream
No
is
more questions. Done.
okay. Have you planned on visiting foreign countries like Turkey or France one day?
Ooh, I'd love to. The only country I've been to outside of the North American continent is Japan. But I would love to. I was planning to go to Europe last year, just like as like a vacation trip type thing, and that didn't happen. I would still love to come to Europe and go around there and
Yeah.
take a look.
Let's see. I guess we have time. We have 4 minutes left. Maybe I could pick an easy one. Do you like any K-pop?
K-pop. Yes, I do love K-pop. I try not to get too sucked in because that has definitely happened to me. And I'm just like, I'm investing so much money into all these albums and
Yeah.
like going to concerts and things. It like, oh my gosh. So I love listening to K-pop. I try to keep it at a distance because otherwise I get so, it's
Yeah.
easy to get swept up in all of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess most recently just listening to like Blackpink and BTS because they're like mega huge. There's no escape from them. They're really great. But I guess I was really into like listening to K-pop during like when EXO was in their like height, and I liked Infinite and Block B and BAP. Yeah.
Yeah, I have some friends who are into K-pop, and I'm like, I'll just like listen to some songs, but I won't look into it too much.
Yeah, it's so easy to get sucked into them and like wanting to get to know all the members and looking them up. I mean, I get so invested in all of them that it's just like I was like, oh, this is such a huge time and money sinker. So I was like, okay, I need to back up a little bit.
Okay, 2 minutes left. Here's a super easy question. What's your favorite color?
My favorite color, blue.
Blue? Okay.
All shades of blue.
Okay, you got it. Whoever asked that, JRMZ13, you got that easy question in before time's up. Okay, since there's 2 minutes left, I'm not confident we can finish any more questions, right? Do you want to say goodbye to everyone?
Yeah, well, thank you again for being here. Thank you, FreeCon, for having me again. I mentioned this earlier. I don't know if anybody caught it, but FreeCon was the very first convention to invite me out. I was still like a little, a bit a young voice actor back then, and I didn't really have a lot of like huge roles under my belt yet, and it's just kind of nice to be back and revisit you guys. Thank you for thinking of me again. I know you have a plethora of voice actors to reach out and speak to.
There's a plethora of voice actors, but since FreeCon is small and we don't have like the budget of like larger cons, we do tend to like try to reach out to smaller people within our budget range, but also it is good to like reach out to people like you when you were younger to give them like opportunities and just hear about them. And I'm so happy that like even though you're beyond us now, you still made time for us and accepted us. So thank you.
It is my pleasure. Thank you.
So we got 1 minute.
I hope you are all doing well, staying safe. And hopefully life will be back to normal soon.
Yes. So I guess we'll just wave goodbye while you guys anticipate me stopping it. I'm going to click the button soon. Don't be surprised. The button is stopping soon.